let's get into the big topic of open source, something that we actually say at Red Hat.
We haven't
This is so
we
awesome.
are an open culture that believes
actually
in
a big
importance of
piece
What is that process that a developer, or let's say
as the Kubernetes ecosystem really boomed.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of In the Clouds. I am your host, Stu Miniman. Excited to be here with you. It's July 17th. It's in the heat of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. Hope your summer is doing well and hopefully maybe getting a little bit of time off. Quick reminder, I want to do one last call out for a charity event that I participate in. It's my 7th year doing the Pan Mass Challenge, which is the largest cycling fundraising in the world, actually. Over 7,000 of us do a big biking, and we have a Red Hat team, the second year of the Red Hat team. 100% of anything donated goes to the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Cancer research and support of that is hugely important and it's needed more than ever. So going to throw a link in the chat if you have any interest in donating to Team Red Hat. We would greatly appreciate it. And in just a little over 2 weeks, I will be doing a 2-day 162-mile bike ride out to the end of Cape Cod. So wearing my a new cycling shirt that I picked up as part of that. And today, I am super excited for our guests. We're always trying to bring, not just Red Hat people, but people in the ecosystem and community. And one of my favorite people in the community that I met many years ago. So Chris Williams, he is a developer relations manager at HashiCorp. I think I met him 2 jobs ago. For him, it was 1 job ago for me. There was a virtualization and cloud user group that was super fun up here in New England. They would do one at Gillette Stadium, which is the home of the Patriots, and another one up in Maine, which was iconic. People literally would come around the world because not only was it great content and great people, but they had a huge lobster bake, at the evening. So it was sad to see that one sunset in 2019, but actually fortuitously a good timing probably to switch out of event in 2019. So Chris, I gave you a little bit that, you and I met through community. We still cross paths at things like Amazon reInvent, even though it's been a little bit since I've been to one of those and some other stuff. You live not that far from me up in New Hampshire. And fun fact, even let me test drive your VW ID4 because I ended up buying a very similar model. So Chris, if you could just give everybody a quick, a little bit about your background on the technology side.
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Chris Williams. I am as Stu said, the developer relations manager for HashiCorp. My background has been wide and varied across the spectrum. Started off in systems administration, got into architecture. I've been building, moving, virtualizing, and containerizing data centers at the enterprise level for many, many years. I've always been a big fan of community. As Stu said, actually, Stu, we met 4 jobs ago for me. I don't know if it's probably an indictment of me, but I got into consulting, and but I've always loved community. And from the community perspective, I've always enjoyed teaching and learning and helping other people level up. One of the phrases that I love, that I hold dear, is all boats rise with the tide. We rise by lifting others. And so I strongly feel that the more people that we get into here, the more people that we can educate and level up and help to learn the skill sets for the next generation of jobs and skilling, the better that we are all off. So yeah, I now do community at HashiCorp under the umbrella of IBM, of course, and I have my dream job. I do now during the day what I was doing at night for free for decades. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's one of those things that we talk about in the industry sometimes is that matching of what you're good at and your passions and pulling all those pieces together. Yeah, it's interesting. Community. you and I were both VMware vExperts for a bit. You were doing it a little bit longer than I was. You are also an AWS Hero. Maybe you can explain, maybe not as many people know about what that is. You're not employed by AWS, but supportive of the cloud and everything.
Yeah, so the AWS Hero program was something that was brought up. I can't remember when it was. I became a hero in 2019. You and I have both been vExperts since, like, I want to say 2012 or like the mid 20s. Similar in construct, but a little bit different. So it is an external advocate of the services of AWS. So there's a couple of different flavors of AWS heroes. There are dev tools heroes, security heroes, storage heroes, community heroes, and I am one of the AWS community heroes. It's basically an accolade or an attaboy from AWS saying that I'm one of the people that spreads the gospel of AWS as far and wide. My efforts with VTUG, with Gillette Stadium, and the Lobster Bake, the SummerSlam, all of those things. AWS caught wind of those, and they're like, "Hey, Chris is doing amazing stuff out in the community. Let's make him." And so there's about 250 AWS heroes. And they fly us into different cities and states to talk to the product managers from the AWS teams and give them our take on the thing that they're coming out with. So we get previews of things that are going to be announced at reInvent 6 months ahead of time, and we give them product feature requests, and this is great, this is bad, yada yada yada. And then at reInvent, we are treated very well. AWS is very well. I mean, they get a lot out of it, and so they give back to us as well. It's a very fun program. We get to talk to. I mean, the other AWS heroes are absolutely amazing. I talk with them literally daily. We have a Slack channel. We spend all day sharing ideas back and forth. Hey, this cool thing just came out. It's a really good place for us to share ideas. And I selfishly blatantly recruit them to come onto my podcast, vBrownBag, and talk about the things that they're working on. And so it's this great symbiotic, virtuous cycle of sharing knowledge.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, and shame on them if they don't know, talk a little bit about vBrownBag, because I've known, most of the people involved in vBrownBag used to love kind of the intersections with many of the communities, back in the VM worlds, like VM Underground and the opening acts. I used to love sharing on those. You had me on your podcast, from reInvent once. So yeah, vBrownBag's got a great history, and do you have to rename it now to take the V out of vBrownBag? But
so we've thought so for those that don't know, a brown bag was a take off of a corporate speak lunch and learn. When people would go to a brown bag, they would go to the commissary or the cafe, and somebody would show whatever they were working on. They would basically do a tech show and tell, and so they got the name brown bag lunches because you were bringing your lunch to the thing and learning as you were going. And we said, okay, well, this isn't a physical thing, this is a virtual thing, so we're going to call it vBrownBag. That did coincide with the fact that we were learning about VMware at the time, and so we're like, okay, this is a nice play on words, but the nomenclature still stands. So I think we're going to keep it. So Stu, you will be surprised to know that I just checked the clock, and we've been doing vBrownBags for 15 years now.
Well, congrats. It's awesome content. Definitely one, and as I said, known a lot of the people involved in it, and intersected with it many times. Free content for the community is awesome.
Yeah, we've got 2,500 videos up. I counted and checked for the show because I knew you're going to ask me about it. So we got 2,500 videos. We've got almost 16,000 subscribers. We've been doing this for 15 years, and this started off because people got together and they said, hey, we should study for these certifications because we want to level up in our technical skill sets. VCP, VMware Certified Practitioner, MCSE, Microsoft Certified Solutions Engineer, all of those things. And we were doing them, And somebody said, "Hey, let's start recording these things and posting them on YouTube because this is great content." It was a study group that turned into a YouTube channel, and then it blew up, and a lot of more people got involved in it. Alistair and Cody were the ones that originally started it. I came on just because I was leveraging it for my own study purposes, and I made the fatal mistake of saying, "Hey, I love what you guys are doing. How can I help?" So I came in about 10 years ago, and we've been doing a show a week, more often than not, ever since. And it's things that we find exciting in the tech field. Obviously, we're doing a lot with AI now, but we bring in luminaries and voices and just really, really smart people. We ask them questions from our perspectives. We've got a security co-host, we've got a DevOps co-host, we've got an enterprise architecture co-host, and we just kind of like ask questions of this professional. They do a little presentation of the thing that they're working on that gets them excited, and the excitement becomes infectious, and we just all sit there and nerd out. We just had a great one last night with Josh Lee. We're doing it every week.
Yeah, well, I think the comment Daniel in the chat said vBrownBag is a great series. Great commentary. So
thanks, Daniel.
Well loved from the community out there. So Chris, curious to get your thoughts. This program's called In the Clouds, and over the last year, sometimes we find it hard to find time to talk about cloud. Your content, you've spent a lot of time, in the cloud space. You're an AWS Hero talking about it. 2025, is cloud still relevant? Has AI taken most of the air out of the world? What's your take on what's happening in the cloud world?
Well, I think that everybody will be surprised to learn that AI is running in the cloud. And the cloud is still running on servers, and the servers are all still networked together. So all of those things are still salient. They're still relevant.
Wait, but it's serverless.
What do you mean? There's servers behind. This is an outrageous statement.
Yeah.
All of the skills are still super, super necessary. I was talking to my friend Alexis about this. She's a network engineer, and she's trying to bring interest back into like the network engineering space. She's a DevRel as well, and it shocked me. I was shocked that like how are you having a hard time getting people excited about networking? And she explained it. She's like, well, everybody wants to talk about cloud. I was like, but cloud is networking. She's like, I know. And she's like, then everybody wants to talk about AI. I was like, but AI requires networking. She's like, I know. It's so frustrating. And so because I came from networking, because my background, I started off as a network admin, then I went into systems operations and all that stuff. So I have all of those underpinnings in my repertoire. So for when I hear that people are like, I don't know what IP addresses are, I'm like, how do you not know that? Because it's a fundamental building block. So long answer to a short question, no, all of that stuff is still super relevant. It's not getting a lot of attention right now because agentic AI and all these announcements are coming out, and everybody wants to learn how to build an MCP server, but you can't hook that MCP server up to anything if you don't know how CyberBlock works.
Yeah, and Chris, if they don't learn networking, they're going to miss some of our favorite jokes. I mean, I tell you a UDP joke, but you might not get it.
You might not get it. Exactly.
If you don't know the OSI 7 layers, we can't talk about layer 8 and 9 and how important they are for your career.
Right.
Stuff. So, yeah, those of us that have backgrounds in networking.
Stay for the dad jokes, people. You're not going to understand them if you don't know OSI.
Oh boy. Yeah, fun times. Open source. You and I have had some interesting conversations over the last couple of years because
boy, have we.
You work for Hashi, you now work for IBM. IBM doesn't do open source. We do all that over at Red Hat, right, Chris? So
that's what I heard.
That's your thoughts.
What the word
open source. When Hashi made some changes, you were one of the few people that were allowed to talk about it. So I'd love to get your take on kind of open source today.
So open source is going through a change. Obviously, there's a lot of money being shifted out there, and when that happens, people react differently. Humans are humans, and the the thought process behind open source. I'm a big open source proponent. I fully believe in it. I think it's a fantastic idea. If I start a sentence with, we rise by lifting others, you include open source in that. It's a way for everybody to get better at the things. At the same time, people also have to put food on the table for them and their kids, and so there are changes happening. You can see them with a lot of the companies that are taking a hard look at the licensing models and trying to figure out, okay, how do we I mean, I'm trying to step a little bit carefully here, because this is one of those situations where words are powerful and words have meaning, and this is a little bit of a landmine for folks like you and I. But there's changes are happening. How this is all going to pan out at the end, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball to see, how these different companies are going to fix what is an important issue. How do you build something cool and amazing and want to share it with the world, but then the person that built it, how do they stay employed or continue making that thing? That classic XKCD comic strip that everybody uses at every single open source conference, with that one little widget maintained by that dude in Nebraska since 2007. How do we fix that? And getting funding from large companies and making sure that they are fully bought into open source. AWS is doing some really good stuff with the Python Foundation, paying for the salaries of some of their security folks. A lot more of work needs to be done in that arena, so that folks can contribute to open source and also not have to worry about, maintaining a day job on top of that, because that's
it is a complex topic. Fundamentally, if you look at it, Chris, I work for Red Hat. Most of the projects that we work on, we did not create. We participate. We help. We got known for making the enterprise version and supporting all that, and everything we do is given back upstream, and we are fervent on being 100% open source. Hashi created some phenomenal tools, but Mitchell and Armand and the team created most of those tools, did open core for a lot of that stuff, and helped build and grow an ecosystem around it and everything. So it started very different, it ended very different, and there's more than one way to slice it. I mean, we're having massive debates right now in the community about what does open source mean when it comes to AI. And there's lots of nuance in there and everything, and some people are very strident as to how they think about it, and but we're in the early days, and some of this takes time. I mean, those of us that go back, my first interaction with the Linux community is when we still called it free software. The term open source came out, and where we grew and matured this model. And, we're pretty proud of what we've done at Red Hat. And I've only been there 5 years. I've worked with them a long time, but there are a few, but it's not like there's hundreds of companies that have made phenomenal business building off of open source. It's as Jim Whitehurst used to say, it's not easy selling free software.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. And I have several spicy takes about the open source-ness of AI, which we shall save for the blooper reel. He didn't say that, did he? No. Cut.
Yeah. Chris, I would love, let's talk about AI. So, I mean, obviously there's hot topic, it's a lot of buzz, but, you work with, communities and developers and lots of people. How is that changing your world?
Because we spend a lot of time talking about learning paradigms and how to educate not just developers, but operations and DevOps folks and all manner of folks in IT. I'm very excited. I'm cautiously excited, optimistically cynical. I have mixed feelings about AI. If you leverage it correctly, and there's a big if there, AI is a very powerful tool that can help you to level up your game significantly. if you misuse it and abuse it, and I can get into my opinions about the flavors of those, you can construct a horrible platform or idea or software as a service offering that is completely exposed to the internet with no enterprise architectural considerations whatsoever. I've been spending a lot of time leveraging AI-powered IDEs and chat agent models and creating my own little DevOps mentor learning platforms on ChatGPT and opining to the internet about the best ways to use AI from various different platforms. One of the things that we're trying to work on right now is a talk for one of the conferences coming up on how to take AI, input all of the information from your enterprise company, from the perspective of like all of the stuff that you have built out, your applications, your infrastructure, have the AI model look through agents, through MCP lenses at your environment, and then cough out well-formatted, well-validated Terraform code so that you can take your brownfield enterprise environment and infrastructure as code it with zero changes. Plus, it also matches not only the HashiCorp validated designs, but your company's internal processes and policies and needs, et cetera, et cetera. And it might be a heck of a lot easier to create that talk than I thought. We were going through it this morning, and I was like, wait, is that it? I mean, obviously, there's a lot more to it, but like at first blush, if I had said what I just said 5 years ago, no way. It would be absolutely impossible without LLMs to get to even consider this. So it's extraordinarily powerful, but with great power comes great responsibility, said Uncle Ben. So you have to be very, very careful of how you use it. And that's kind of like the missing widget right now when I'm talking to new folks in getting into tech and how they're leveraging AI versus folks that have been around for a hot minute, and the prompting that they're using and the definitions and how they're using it are very, very different. And so that's what I'm spending a lot of time on vBrownBag now talking about, how to get yourself better to the critical thinking part of leveraging AI as a person getting into IT and tech, so that you're not just vibe coding yourself into a job that you then have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, it's funny, everybody loves to bring up, it's like, we've got the Luddites are attacking it. It's like any new technology usually we have some pushback, and often there are some concerns about it, but you can go even further. It was like, the printing press, the Gutenberg Bible, when they first built it, people were like, oh my God, no, this is going to ruin everything. Or, even AI. I go back, Ada Lovelace 150 years ago said, if you can describe it in code, it's not really artificial intelligence. So there are things that are a little bit different on AI. Yes, we'll talk a little bit about, how do we make sure that people have a good understanding of things. I had a great quote that I heard about it, that if you have, a good understanding and a solid base, absolutely, AI can accelerate what you're doing. But if you've got weak support models, AI is going to crush you. It's one of those things that, like, I remember back, social media 15 years ago was one of those things. Oh my God, this is this huge thing. I was in operations roles at the time, and it was like, oh my God, this could put me out of business. My job's connecting people and sharing information. And it was like, oh wait, this could actually supercharge what I was doing.
Yes.
So interesting there. AI, any of that hitting your GitHub yet? We shared your link tree up there. So vBrownBag, you're doing it. I'm curious, like, do you find any like fun, useful things? Like, are you creating like fun videos yet, or or you doing like real work with the AI?
Honestly, a little bit of both. When I find real work to do with AI, I invariably wind up doing a Camtasia of my desktop, and then turning that into an article. When I first started working with like local models using Olama and OpenWebUI, I was like, oh, This is a quick. Okay, so most of my articles are literally just reminders to future Chris Williams on how I did something, because I invariably forget and have to re-Google everything. So bear that in mind if you actually look at my website. It's just notes to future Chris. I'm not writing to an audience. That I save that for HashiCorp blogs. But yeah, no, all of the things that I'm working on now, I dip back into my years of enterprise experience, and I'm like, okay, this is a cool, fun new thing. How would I have used this to work in a multi-control towered AWS environment, or going even further back, a 3-node data center running vCenter everywhere. So it's really fun to take that new layer of learning and then apply it to all of the different things. And an important aspect of that is making sure that you take all those documents and then dump them into the AI. So one of the reasons why I wanted to start working with local models was because I have a lot of personal documentation from previous customers and clients and stuff that I absolutely am not going to put into ChatGPT. Sure. So I wanted to have a local model that I could then upload those to, and then have it parse it and figure out, so I could ask it questions about, enterprise thinking, and then say, okay, now write something fun up in my voice that is something cool that we could do with AI in the future. And it, spits out 10 different ideas, and I pick one, and then I expound upon that. And then I figure out, okay, that sounds like something fun I could work on. So I'm doing it all over the place, really.
Awesome. How about, has AI changed anything, your interactions with customers, or, how are your conversations with AI going, kind of with end users that you're talking to?
I think right now, okay, so you and I have been, I think it's fair to say we've been around for a hot minute. And so we've seen many technology waves and surges. We've seen how people turn new ideas. Oh, this is going to be the silver bullet that cures everything. It goes through that hump, and then it turns into okay, maybe it's not going to solve everything. And then we get into this after steady state where the excitement has died down and people start actually functionally leveraging that technology for business purposes and figuring out how things are going to work. I hope that we're getting to the point where we're kind of weaning off of the excitement area. But currently, a lot of customers are saying, okay, how are we injecting AI into everything? And I'm still spending time going, do we need to inject the AI into this part, dear reader? And I don't want to be the Luddite that is always pumping the brakes, the guy saying, no, the pencil was good enough when the printing press comes out. But you have to be very specific when you're talking about where you want to add these things. Will it actually benefit what you're trying to do, or does very confident autocomplete on steroids just make it worse for you in the long run?
Yeah, no, it's you're right. It's the, come on, cloud was going to solve everything. And there were years that Amazon said 100% of your workloads will, eventually be in the cloud. And today it's a little different. We're not saying.
And before that, virtualization was going to solve everything. And before that, distributed systems were going to solve everything. And then before that, mainframes are going to solve everything.
Yeah.
So
it was, it's always the security and the networking concerns that are going to slow certain things down, and we're slowly chipping away and making those a little bit better. I'm still, Chris, I always say I'm waiting for my friends at IBM to solve those pesky laws of physics, because once we get rid of those, it's going to be awesome. Maybe the quantum stuff will get us there.
Which is why it's really fun to spend time in like I said, the AWS heroes have the different flavors. There's a subsection of this called the security heroes, and I love spending time in that particular Slack, because when MCPs came out, they were like, it can do what? Excuse me? It's great because they immediately see all of those corner cases. It's basically an entire room full of CISOs going, no, absolutely not. but they give the good reasons behind it. So it's really fun to see both ends of hyped up crazy excitement versus no, you do not want to put your life savings, the API keys to the account that has your life savings into an MCP server and say, please go make me more money on the stock market.
Yeah, it's interesting. We got a good comment. I'd love your feedback on. my first 3 out of the 5 years I've been at Red Hat, it was very much a cloud discussion. And the two things that made me, oh my gosh, I'm back talking about data centers, whether it be hosted or companies' own data centers, is one, the Broadcom VMware discussion. A lot of that still is in the data center. But number two, it has been AI. So I believe it's our Daryl here said, enterprises are concerned about pushing their data. They want to keep it, on-prem because they're a little bit concerned about trust. It's definitely something I see. A lot of the Red Hat customers love our solutions because we can live in the data center, in the cloud, in the edge. So if they want to stay in the data center, we don't have an agenda to push you in an environment. If you want to do it all in AWS or Azure, Google, Oracle, IBM, yep, we're working with all them. So what's your thought on kind of the data trust, where that lives these days?
Data trust has always been an issue. We used to call them the server huggers. So back when we were virtualizing servers, they were like, no, I want it to be on bare metal. And we're like, well, why? And so data trust is always paramount. And wherever that data resides, whether it's like physically located in a data center, you have one set of responsibilities that you have to account for. If it lives up in the cloud, there are different responsibilities. You still have to account for them, but it's a couple of different things because you now have a shared responsibility model. Your data needs to be protected regardless of where it lives. If you feel more comfortable physically owning the disks upon which your data lives, then you are going to have a certain set of expectations and responsibilities. You have to hire storage people. You have to make sure that you're not going to get the 11 nines of durability from an S3 bucket, but your local storage system, you have to hire administrators for and make sure that you've got double redundancy and all that stuff. So it's a giant if then else tree out there, where if you want to put it here, then you've got to do this. But if you want to put it here, then you've got to do this. And none of the dirty secret is that none of them are easier. There's no easy button. You just have to make sure that you take care of all of these things, and wherever you put it, it's gonna be hard, difficult. There's a lot. There's going to be a lot to deal with. It's just going to be a different pile of things that you have to deal with. So there isn't the silver bullet is there is no silver bullet. That's the joke.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. It's interesting. The Amazon Summit in New York City is going on this week, and I got to attend that a bunch of times and talk to some very large financial services companies that were heavily invested in the public cloud. And you talk deep about security. And yeah, look, I remember early in my career, it was like, okay, you have a room and you lock the door and there's no internet connected to it. And that was pretty secure today. Yes, but exactly. I want to be able to leverage that data. And even in disconnected modes, there's things I need to do. So yeah, we can make cloud very secure. We can make your data center very secure.
I can give you an air-gapped cloud all day long. However...
Yeah, I've got some fun stories back about, when you think you've got all the disaster recovery stuff sorted out, and then there's like, oops, wait, it's something we didn't think of. All those people in your Slack group, the former CISOs, every time you think you've got something sorted out, something can go wrong. Yeah.
And that's why those channels are great, because you go like, hey, I thought about this. And then they're like, yeah, but did you think about this, and this? And I'm like, so yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, Chris, you and I could go on and on for a long time, but I want to throw us to our questions from a Red Hat.
Oh, okay, sure.
All right. So we talked about AI broadly, but Chris, how does AI fit to you personally, your daily life?
I use it to answer all of my questions, like all of the silly little questions that I have that pop up in my head all day long. Like, tax questions. I run it past there, like weird, funky legal questions from like for property. I literally use it all the time. I use it to help me code. I use it to help me ideate on different ideas for new projects. I literally spend most of my day playing with AI.
So would you say it is pretty much your new search is now AI?
100%. Yeah.
And are you using like Perplexity or one of the models,
yes.
or what are you using?
I have stopped using Google. I am now exclusively using Perplexity for like web search and things of that matter. For code, I use Claude. For random, regular, just double checks, I use ChatGPT. I use Olama and I download all the Granite models. I play with all of that stuff all day long.
All right. Nice shout out for the Granite models from
Hey.
the IBM and Red Hat. Open source with indemnification even for that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
So Chris, my next question, I asked AI to actually give me like a good challenging question for you. And it said, given your experience helping others, what's a past belief about DevOps or community that you now see as completely wrong?
And that's one of the rapid fire questions. Are you kidding me, Stu?
Yeah.
There's
10 years ago when people said DevOps, and now you look and like, oh my God, like how are we so naive or stupid about that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So I would have to say one of my crumbled beliefs would be that you do have to learn all of, like, when 10 years ago when somebody said, okay, you want to be DevOps, okay, you got to learn this and this and this and this and this, and basically there was like 10 different things. That's not true. I recommend getting really good at one of the basic things and then branching from there, and do not get overwhelmed with the sea of information that is out there. Take your time and do not listen to, I mean, actually the talk that we had last night on vBrownBag was about this. In video games, some of the best tech trees were like the ones where you start off, like in Civ, you start off with agriculture, and then it gives you 4 different things, and then it gives you more different things. Pick a thing and then branch gently from there to increase your knowledge. Don't start with 10 options and then further stack out. So treat yourself gently.
Yeah, no, Chris, love it. Great stuff. Yeah. You mentioned like the hype cycle. The one I love is the, when you know nothing, you think you sometimes, the Dunning-Kruger, you think you know more than you know. And then you learn a little bit and you're like, oh, this is okay. And then you reach a certain point and you're like, oh, wow, I realize that I absolutely know nothing. I love the, Satya Nadella. It's like, I want to be the learn everything, not know everything kind of way of thinking about things.
Absolutely.
All right. Last one. You've described yourself as a cloud therapist. What advice do you have for the next generation that's entering tech now?
The next generation that's entering tech right now.
Yeah.
Do not. Okay. So this is very salient for 2025. Do not just take the answer from AI. If I was crafting a prompt for something to teach me, I've done it. If you go to ChatGPT and you look for the agent called DevOps Mentor, there's a little picture of me with a purple beard. He's adorable, and he has been prompted to use the Socratic method to teach. If you go to him and ask him a question, he's not going to spoon feed you the answer. He is going to start asking you questions to make you think in the right direction. Leverage that in all things that you do in tech. Ask the why behind you're trying to do something. Why are you trying to do that? Okay, because of this. Okay, well, why are you trying to do that? Get down to the basics so that you fundamentally understand what it is that you're trying to do, instead of just working at this very high layer of abstraction that has so many underpinnings that you don't understand. You need to understand the foundational stuff. Much like martial arts, you got to get your foundational stuff good so that you can do all the flowery, pretty stuff.
Yeah, right. I studied as an undergrad. I was an engineer, and like partial credit and being able to show your work was hugely important, because
yes,
at the end of the day, right, it's not the answer, it's how did you get there and how do all these things work? And you might make minor mistakes, but if you can't understand how it all comes together. That's challenging. Yeah. Fun tip I learned, it was like, I guess, if you go into ChatGPT in general, it's like, oh, you're smart and I'm going to do whatever you ask it. And you can be like, oh no, I want you to be critical and give me feedback and, not just be a puppy dog that says like, oh, cool, I will go fetch the ball that you threw for me. And
2 + 2 = 5. You're right, Chris. It does equal.
Yeah.
No, stop it.
No. Picard says that absolutely no. I will not change those truths. Awesome. Well, Chris, hey, nice job on the rapid fires. See, you kept it short.
I was stressed.
High pressure situation here. Absolutely. The fun one, Chris. You've got guitars on the wall. Do you actually play? And what's your favorite type of music?
It would be disingenuous of me to have guitars on my wall and not play. Would it not, Stu?
Right.
I mean, wait. Okay, actually, let me reverse. Have you had people on the show that have like instruments in the background and they're just there for?
But it's are you you've got two there, so that's like. Yes. Okay, I'm making progress. I've seen some where it's like, the wall of guitars and they have all that, or, a friend I met, it's like, oh, no, he's got a cover band and, plays gigs and does all those things. And sometimes you don't know like how deep that rabbit hole goes. So
I played in a cover band in university. I still practice, but I don't. I mean, I get on those things and I do my scales and I play like my old standbys like Pink Floyd and I also have a bass guitar and I play some funk bass. But I don't do it amateur nor professionally anymore. I do have a copy of that video game, the video game that Rocksmith. You play Rocksmith. You can plug your guitar up into the system, and it actually tells you if you're hitting the notes right and everything. So I loved Guitar Hero, but then I was like, wouldn't this be great if you had a real guitar? So I that's what I do now. I like playing. I play tons of video games, and that's how I married the two passions together.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, Chris, let me give you the final word. Things you're looking for, rest of 2025, places we should see you. And we did put your link tree, up in the comments.
Amazing. So I am going to be at reInvent, obviously. I am also going under the knife. I'm having knee surgery next week. So I do not know. I will find out after I wake up where I will be after that, because there's these differentiating healing patterns that we're going to find out when we get in there. So I might be at some of the upcoming AWS summits. I will be also at HashiConf. So we're doing the AWS Terraform Game Day at HashiConf. I'm very excited about that. So HashiConf, IBM Tech Exchange, probably KubeCon, and most definitely reInvent is where I'll be this year.
And you forgot, our friends from Red Monk, that you're going to be attending Monktoberfest for the first time. Which, and unfortunately, I'm not going to make that one. So, Chris, I hope you do make it to KubeCon Atlanta, because that is one that I'm planning to go to.
Oh, cool.
Otherwise, we'll have to find some other way for me to swing by your neck of the woods.
We live right next to each other. I see you more at conferences than I do in the real world.
I know, because it's one of those. It's like, if you come down to Boston, I'm there pretty regularly. But yeah, you go mostly to Boston when you're flying out of Logan, I'm guessing. But
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Which used to be in my last world. That's what I spent. Now I'm in Boston pretty regularly. All right. Well, hey, Chris, pleasure catching up with you. Best of luck on the surgery and the recovery there. And thank you for everything you and the vBrownBag folks do. It's great content and always good to see. So we been trying to do one of these a month. So please, keep an eye out on the YouTube channel and everything for when we will have. If you have any suggestions on guests or topics that you'd like us to cover, we'd love to hear it. And thank you much for listening. And thank you for joining us on your journey in the clouds.